Sister Wives Meri refutes Kody and Robyn's version of first meeting. Sister Wives star Meri Brown is refuting her ex-husband, Kody Brown, and his last remaining wife, Robyn Brown's story of how they first met. There are various stories of how the couple initially met one another, but what is the truth? More so, what does Meri have to say about the whole situation? Keep reading for further details. Sister Wives Meri refutes Kody and Robyn's version of first meeting. When viewers saw the first season of Sister Wives, they were introduced to the Brown family. There, they learned how Kody Brown met Robyn Brown, who he was courting at the time. He claimed he was with his first wife, Meri Brown, when Robyn caught his eye. Meri then encouraged him to ask her to dance as the OG Sister Wives joked she was the recruiter. It seemed very seamless and everyone liked Robyn when she joined the family. More so, she fit in and the 12 Brown kids were happy with the new addition. However, Kody and Robyn were recently retelling the story of how they met, and it did not match the Season 1 version. Kody claimed he was at church with his cousin and saw Robyn. That was when he felt the initial spark, but it was not until later when he and Meri met Robyn. So it seems the stories meshed some. Now, Meri is opening up about what she feels happened when Robyn and Kody first met. According to a Reddit thread, the Sister Wives star did a TikTok live and was asked if she regretted introducing Kody and Robyn. To that, she allegedly said this: "I was there when they first met, or at least I thought I was. There's now this story about them seeing each other at church for the first time and making eye contact. I don't know anything about that. I was at a dance with Kody and we both met Robyn there, which is what I thought was their first meeting. But I didn't introduce them." Meri, the Pawn Sister Wives fans were not shocked one bit by how Kody and Robyn Brown rewrote history on their meeting story. Yet, they felt bad at how Meri Brown was being made into a pawn in their love story. Not surprised one bit that either A, they truly rewrote the history of how Robyn and Kody met, or B, they weren't honest in their first meeting at the dance and were purposefully deceitful. Poor Meri. I can't imagine finding out all these years later that she was basically a pawn in their story. Someone else noted how Kody's nephew shared that he and Robyn were seeing each other behind the wives' backs. It was quite sneaky, and then they used Meri to make it look like a setup. Whether this is true or not, fans will likely never know the real story. Meri Brown sat in her modest Utah bed and breakfast, her laptop open in front of her, fingers hovering above the keyboard. The cursor blinked expectantly, as if it, too, urged her to finally share her side of the story. She'd grown weary of the narrative Kody and Robyn had spun over the years, particularly about their first meeting. It was time, she thought, to set the record straight. Meri had seen the interview on TV not long ago. Kody, with his trademark bravado, had painted their initial meeting with Robyn as a whimsical, almost divinely orchestrated moment. "She walked into our lives like an angel," he'd said, his eyes twinkling. "We all felt an instant connection. Meri, in particular, was so excited to introduce her to the family. She practically pushed me to court Robyn." Robyn had chimed in, her voice soft and measured. "I could tell that Meri's heart was so open to me. She embraced me as if we'd known each other forever. It was special." Meri's jaw had tightened as she'd watched. The version of events they'd recounted bore only a faint resemblance to the reality she remembered. It wasn't so much that they were outright lying. No, Kody and Robyn were more subtle than that. They bent truths, omitting critical details, smoothing over awkwardness, and painting themselves in the best possible light. With a deep breath, Meri began typing. "It's funny how memory works," she wrote. "We can all experience the same event but recall it so differently. Kody and Robyn's recollection of our first meeting is creative, to say the least." She paused, her fingers drumming against the desk. Where to start? Perhaps with the beginning, before Robyn had entered their lives. "At the time," she continued, "my relationship with Kody wasn't perfect, but we were managing. Janelle and Cristin had their struggles with him too, but that was par for the course in plural marriage. It's not easy balancing multiple relationships, and Kody, well, let's just say he's not always the most attentive husband. But we made it work." Meri's lips pressed into a thin line. She debated whether to include the next part, but decided the truth was necessary. "When Kody started talking about expanding the family, I wasn't thrilled. I'd always imagined we'd have 4 wives, yes, but that was more of an abstract idea than a pressing reality. And when he mentioned Robyn specifically, I felt uneasy." She leaned back in her chair, memories flooding back. Robyn wasn't some angelic figure who had glided effortlessly into their lives. Their first meeting had been awkward, fraught with unspoken tension. Meri had been the one to extend an olive branch, yes, but it wasn't because she felt an instant connection. It was because she'd felt obligated. The day she first met Robyn, Meri had driven to her sister's house in Wyoming, where Robyn was staying. The air was crisp and the sky threatened snow as she pulled into the gravel driveway. Meri remembered stepping out of the car, adjusting her scarf, and forcing a smile as she walked toward the front door. Robyn had greeted her warmly enough, her children peeking out shyly from behind her. She'd been younger than Meri expected, with a tentative smile that belied her nervousness. Meri, trying to be gracious, had invited her over for dinner the following week. "That's the part they conveniently leave out," Meri typed. "I was the one who suggested Robyn come to dinner. Not because I was excited or felt a connection, but because I knew Kody wouldn't let it go. He'd been talking about her nonstop, and I thought if I met her, maybe I'd understand what he saw in her." Dinner had been fine. Robyn was polite, even charming at times, but Meri couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Kody had been unusually attentive to Robyn throughout the evening, laughing a little too loudly at her jokes, leaning in a little too close. Cristin and Janelle had exchanged looks, their discomfort palpable. "I'll never forget how Cristin reacted," Meri wrote. "She pulled me aside after dinner and said, if he marries her, everything will change. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. Looking back, I realized she saw what I couldn't, or wouldn't." Meri's fingers flew across the keyboard now, the words pouring out of her. She described the months that followed, the growing tension in their family as Kody pursued Robyn with an intensity he'd never shown for his other wives. She wrote about the whispered conversations, the forced smiles, the way Robyn seemed to effortlessly insert herself into every aspect of their lives. And then there was the wedding. Meri's stomach churned at the memory. Kody had been insistent that everyone participate, that they show a united front. But Meri had felt anything but united. She'd stood there, watching as Kody and Robyn exchanged foes, feeling like an outsider in her own family. "They like to say that I was supportive, that I embraced Robyn with open arms," Meri typed. "The truth is, I tried, I really did. But it wasn't easy, and it wasn't seamless. There were tears, arguments, and moments when I wondered if our family would survive." She paused, her hands trembling slightly. She'd never spoken so openly about this before, not even to Cristin or Janelle. But it felt good, liberating, even to finally put it into words. As she neared the end of her post, Meri addressed Kody and Robyn directly. "I don't doubt that you believe your version of events," she wrote. "But I hope you'll understand that my truth is different. It's messy and complicated, full of doubts and insecurities. But it's real, and it deserves to be heard." Meri leaned back, reading over her words. She knew they would stir controversy, perhaps even anger. But she also knew she couldn't stay silent any longer. She clicked publish and closed her laptop, a sense of calm washing over her. The truth was out now, and for the first time in years, Meri felt free.